What did I tell y'all about carnival barkers? I'm serious. You know, I warned you. What did I tell you about the carnival barkers? That they were going to be everywhere on this topic. And the social media trolls and worse have been everywhere on this topic where Caitlyn Clark, Angel Reese play each other. And I guarantee you, the vast majority of people who watched that came away thinking, wow, it was a great game. That was a great game. It was fun to watch. Caitlyn Clark sure can play basketball. I think that was probably the takeaway from the vast majority of viewers of that basketball game on Father's Day on a Sunday afternoon. That's just my feeling, just my thoughts, just what I think. But, of course, within, an hour of the game ending, the foul from Angel Reese on Caitlyn Clark was everywhere. With, you had the bar stools of the world sharing it out into the universe. And then Matt Leinart is commenting on it and saying Angel Reese should be suspended. And then I guarantee you, others were like, they're saying hateful and racist and horrible things in the mentions of some of the players involved, including Angel Reese, which of course is reprehensible, has no place anywhere. At the same time, you get these strange, like, gatekeepy side positions from WNBA rank and file who don't seem to understand that this has brought new attention to the league. But how do you know it's on a different level? Because CNN is covering the damn thing, right? Like CNN, here you go. Flagrant foul, Caitlyn Clark hit in the head during play. And what I think people fail to realize a little bit here still is just how famous Caitlyn Clark is and just how popular she is. That's the real root of all of this and all of the attention. And, it's not fair to her fans to be labeled the way that they've been labeled by so many, to say, oh, Caitlyn Clark fans are horrible and toxic. And since I started doing this show and skewing toward this topic, I've talked about how she has cultish fans, right? Who are very much cultish in their support of her and extra in their support of her, which is okay. Like every superstar athlete has fan bases like that. I've seen it throughout the years. But the vast majority of Caitlyn Clark fans are basketball fans. There's this misnomer out there that Caitlyn Clark got famous because of the national championship game with Angel Reese, and that's just not true. She was famous before then. She was famous at Iowa. She was breaking records. My boss at the time at Sports Illustrated reached out to me to do a video on Caitlyn Clark and what she had done. And I did, and it went viral about her breaking records. Of course, the national championship game exploded it to a different level, and things were at a different level at that point. So all these things are, important to note and take stock of. But the real reason this gets the attention it does is, number one, Caitlyn Clark's overwhelming popularity and fame. She's selling out arenas. She, was part of the national championship game, the driving force for a national championship game that outrated the men, 18 million viewers, which is just insane numbers. That's like twice what the last game of the NBA Finals did. She was part of a WNBA draft that got more viewers than the last 6 WNBA drafts combined. Any way you look at this, any metric you look at this show, trust me, I know how popular. I think people are just not used to it. I mean, what was this? I saw this Clark Report Twitter account. You think about, for all the negative stuff, and I keep repeating this over and over again, but it needs to be said, for all the negativity around what's going on, the positivity for the WNBA and women's basketball out of all this is overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's been talked about much more than the NBA Finals. And Caitlyn Clark is currently the most popular basketball player on the planet. You know, and Angel has her own fan base and her own supporters, right? And Angel made the foul, which was nothing. The foul was nothing. She's right. Angel's right. It was a basketball play, right? Like it was a typical basketball play. She was swinging at the ball. She hit her in the head. So what? Flagrant one. It was called right. It is what it is. Angel made it a little bit more of a story by then after the fact, going out there and saying, you know, they get a special whistle and all that. But whatever. Again, like it's just some comments, right? Like it's just some comments. Who cares? Really, what happened was people who are disingenuous and are baiting for engagement took that foul and ran with it. The far right extremists online with the American flag in their avatar and some stupid woke username are using it as an excuse to spread hateful rhetoric online. And unfortunately, some of that gets directed at WNBA players, and that's not cool. No one should ever say that's cool. At the same time, like I see on TV today, and this is not as negative in general, but like Andrea Carter was on First Take, and she called the game a mid-off between the Sky and the Fever. And I just don't understand. This is counterproductive, in my opinion. Like, number one, it's got the two biggest stars in your league. Number two, teams that select at the top of the draft generally aren't good. And number three, it was a great game. Why are you calling it a mid-off? No one has ever criticized the NBA for people being interested in Victor Wembanyama or interested in LeBron James in his rookie year. And then, like, I saw this tweet. Here's another one from LZ Granderson, who said, there is a need for Clark to be an outlier who made the WNBA watchable so folks can avoid doing the real work of asking themselves why they didn't watch before. What real work? Everybody who didn't watch before was a racist? I mean, like, people came in because Clark is a dynamic, exciting, unique player. She captivated audiences. I've been on the front lines of saying, don't disrespect the other women and ladies of the league. They can play ball. Like, and I hate when the Caitlyn Clark fans do, you know, diss them in the quest to prop up Caitlyn. Props up Caitlyn for the league to do better. The whole thing is just, it's all nonsense. And the proof is in the pudding. Like, you know what's funny about it? And maybe it's the style I take, or my kind of videos, or, you know, my tone, whatever the case may be. But my basketball videos are doing better than my controversy videos. You know, I did one earlier today on all the attention Caitlyn is receiving defensively. There was one play in the Sky game where she had 5 defenders collapsing on her at the same time. And she's been guarded, you know, like blitzed at a level you haven't seen. But what's happening right now is pretty interesting. The Fever are in a playoff spot right now. And I saw this earlier today, offensive rating. Over the last, let me give the guy credit and make sure, you know, I didn't get to fact check this myself. So let me share the source. But this is someone called Taka Kari on Twitter X. I want to say, hopefully I pronounced that right. Said the Fever offense has found a rhythm and identity. Over their last 4 games, the Fever have an offensive rating of 109. On the season, the Liberty have the best offensive rating at 106.9. So basically what that means is over the last 4 games, the Indiana Fever have had the best offense in the WNBA. And they're playing so much better. I mean, you see the connection developing between Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston. Let me give some credit to Aaliyah Boston for playing much better. Let me give some credit to the head coach, Christy Sides, who has probably gotten more criticism than anyone. Maybe she was right to get Boston going at the end of that one game. Maybe she was right to sacrifice the touches for Caitlyn a little bit in the game before the Sky game, because If Boston is rolling and Mitchell is rolling, that opens things up for Caitlyn. And then there's Caitlyn herself, who is setting records, the fastest to all sorts of things. She's going to break the rookie record for 25 in 5 games. I mean, she's already tied Diana Taurasi. She's going to catch and pass Tamika Catching. She's going to absolutely shatter that record. Caitlyn Clark is already one of the best players in the WNBA. Already. She's going to run away with Rookie of the Year, but it's good for her and everyone that she has Angel Reese on the other side. And Angel's got the Joker kicks, which are cool. And Angel, you know, I've always praised her competitiveness, her motor. You know, sometimes I think she doesn't do herself favors in the postgame. If I'm just being real, she doesn't do her with the stuff she says. But I don't hold on to that. It's here today, gone tomorrow. But I think she breathed a little life into the foul story after Caitlyn kind of squashed it. But oh well, who cares? You know, like I'm not going to be mad about that. You know, I was never mad about it, and I'm not going to care about it after 24 hours pass. You know, it's just part of the story. The whole thing is just nuts. The whole thing is just nuts. And really, again, you got bad faith actors and carnival barkers and engagement farmers using it to their advantage. And I say that as someone who was using it to my advantage. Like I've never lied. Like I've said a million times, I will not lie to the audience. I started talking about this. I'm getting more views. I'm getting more audience. That's the name of the game. And I would like a bigger audience. I want more views. I want more interaction. I want all those things. But I'm going to approach it with integrity and honesty. And I'm not going to race bait or hate bait or sensationalize things that aren't there. That foul was it was a flagrant foul. It wasn't a common foul, but it was a regular ass foul that you see in basically any NBA game. And it did not need to be a story. The reason it's a story is because Caitlyn Clark is sensationally, epically popular, and because Angel Reese can be used as a foil against her, sometimes in the worst ways. Unfortunately for Angel, which she doesn't deserve. You know, Angel brings some scrutiny with her criticism, and she should get the scrutiny that athletes get for saying something in the post-game press conference that somebody doesn't like. Luka cries to the refs, Luka gets scrutiny. Angel cries about the refs, Angel can get scrutiny. That extra stuff that people are doing, not cool. She and nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. But again, and it's not. I'm not establishing an equivalency, but it's very strange. The other side of it too, like you didn't watch the Liberty game. You're not a fan. Like there are a lot of new. You should welcome new fans. How many new fans came to freaking golf when Tiger Woods showed up? Were the PGA Tour getting rid of them? Like, no, you don't. No, I mean, Tiger Woods is golf now. Magic and Bird had to come to the NBA to bring in new fans because it was on tape delay. I don't remember, like, people saying, if you didn't watch George Mikan, you shouldn't be able to watch the NBA. Stupid. My goodness. By the way, let me check the text. All right, well, I'll have an announcement. I guess I should wait till tomorrow. I could announce it today. I mean, it's happening tomorrow, but just in case, I'll announce it tomorrow. But be on the lookout for my socials tomorrow for more coverage on this topic. I referenced my work at SI, something that has to do with that, and in written word format. So be on the lookout for an announcement that way tomorrow AM. All right, and more content coming your way. More content coming your way, and let's get to you guys now because this is an interactive show, starting with my guy Kevin Zwicker, who references Drake, Clark in a 21v1. It ain't 20v1, it's 1v20 if I gotta smack dudes that right with you. But yes, there are a lot of people against. But the problem is not really, because Clark has so much backup. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. The internet is not real life. Social media is not real life. You have hundreds of people writing nonsense online. You have dozens of people shouting nonsense on TV and digital media. You have thousands upon thousands of people purchasing tickets to watch Caitlyn Clark play. You have millions upon millions of people turning on the television to watch Caitlyn Clark play. Caitlyn Clark is beloved by black, white, everything in between, male, female, gay, straight, for how she plays basketball. That's it. There are other things that factor in. Nothing ever boils down to one thing. But Occam's razor, the number one thing is that Caitlyn Clark is beloved for how she plays basketball. That's it. That's it. All right, we got lots of comments in here. I'll try to get through them. I will do my best, but you can do like Kevin and send a super chat, or if you're a member, I'm going to go to the member chats first. DS Sai Sahande says, why are there so many people coming to the table in bad faith? Why can't it remain about basketball, even if you're off social media? SAS is bringing up race as well. Because people are getting tricked. They're getting tricked into thinking it's about these other things because that's what people are telling them it's about. And by the way, has anybody else noticed that Stephen A. Smith is getting more coverage than the NBA Finals? I feel like, not only is the WNBA getting more coverage than the NBA Finals, I feel like from Stephen A. Smith, from his own network, from ESPN, he's getting more coverage than the NBA Finals. Unaided Foot 3531. I'm just having a good time watching games on the streaming service when I can and getting to know other players. I like DT as a player, but her public persona is a bit off-putting. Maybe I need time. DT's just kind of a dick. That's it. That's part of what got her where she is. She's kind of a dick. Great, unbelievable player. I love Diana Taurasi's game. And to be fair, there is at least an argument to be presented that part of the reason she might not love Caitlyn is because Caitlyn could be threatening, her spot a little bit. Also adds, what might be fun is if you do a spotlight on draft players from the last 2 years for us new fans, then maybe do a star for each. Yeah, I got to start doing some of that stuff. I'm feature old legends and things like that, but I appreciate the suggestion. I'm doing everything by myself here, but I'm going to attempt to expand on all that once I get the ball rolling on this other project I got launching tomorrow. Do you see CC a Boston similar to Steve Nash and Amari? Obviously, CC is the best player. But, first of all, the Nash and CC thing is very good comparison because they play actually a lot she plays a lot like Steve Nash, keeping her dribble alive in the paint. That reverse was vintage Steve Nash. Amari, I think what they need is Aaliyah Boston to get going and Mitchell to get going to take the pressure off of Caitlyn Clark. And I think taking the pressure off of Caitlyn Clark will open things up for Caitlyn Clark. Obviously, this is a better basketball team with Aaliyah Boston playing the way that she's played. AJ Schreiber says, sorry I'm late, y'all. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Noticing that program directors across the country are telling talent to talk WNCC. Well, they'd be morons if not. This is different. Caitlyn Clark's level of fame is different. It ain't normal. It ain't. It ain't normal at all. she's on a whole different level of fame than almost anybody. I mean, really, maybe than anybody. It is not normal. And I think people, still haven't come to grips with that. And they, and again, it's far more Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan or Serena Williams than it is anything else. Like someone who was unique and different and captivating in their respective sport. That's what she is. Like people trying to, think piece themselves to death. Everybody's going to think piece themselves to death at some point here. There's someone called Guyana Spectator who is spamming the chat. I cannot put your comments on there because they're, not appropriate. But my wife is from Guyana. Just mention it. AJ with another one. Everyone jumping on the train. Robin is the conductor. I've always said, and I said this in my whole breakdown episode, if you want to go back to the origins of this show, and it's the one that caused AJ to reach out to me. But I've always been a little ahead of my time, I feel like, and maybe this time it pays off. It pays off for me that I was ahead of the curve on this. Because my original Caitlyn Clark reel that I did explaining, why she's getting all the attention she did is about to hit 1 million views on YouTube, and it's at hundreds of thousands, if not 1 million, on every single platform out there. Feels like everybody's going back to it now. And I've really put together a couple months of content since then, and more coming. But I like the ideas I've seen in here, and I'm going to make an effort. I took a screenshot of a comment from yesterday for a video idea. I got to remember the one. Actually, before I forget, let me go back to that comment from, who was it? It was, excuse me. It was a member. I don't know if I've even celebrated this member yet. Unaided Foot 3531. Let me just take a picture of my computer right now. Sorry. Just so I remember the idea. Okay. Back to the chats. Let me go down the line here. Coach Sides, Coach of the Year, according to Michael S. How the sides have changed. They certainly have. The tides have changed. There's no question about that. Theo B. Yo, what up, Robin? Finally catching one of these live. Well, what up, Theo B? Not reading that comment, Vatamoni. Kayla Mendenhall. I was at the game. It was a really fun, exciting game. That's what I thought too. I was like, that was my takeaway. Wow, it was a great product. Yeah, that was awesome. But no, it had to be about a freaking foul. Look at this. Look at this. This is from the New York Post. Just was scrolling across it. Reese fire after flagrant foul. Caitlyn and Angel poured cold water on the situation. Oh, it was not as bad as I thought. So they're saying that they diffused it. Good column, actually. Just the headline caught me off guard when I was scrolling through. Ryan Glasspiel, he does a good job. Andre Ray says, I agree. I think the rivalry is good drama. You can't have Batman without the Joker. And look, Angel plays into it. I think Angel, what happens to her is a little bit she doesn't like that Clark gets all the attention. I mean, I think there's truth to that, right? Hence that comment about, she's not the only one. They came for me too. And then after they're going to play this 1 million times, and then she lost. She's probably frustrated with the losing because she's a winner and a competitor. And, show Angel grace. She's a young lady. Not going to be perfect. Malik says CC22 is amazing to watch, like Steph, Dame, or Trey. Check this out. On that note, I think it was Stat Mamba who threw this together. Yeah, look at this. Just because you mentioned those players. Average three-point distance. Caitlyn Clark is shooting from further than Trey, Dame, and Steph. Pretty amazing when you think about it. Might have a little something to do with her popularity. Maybe just something. Coffee Cat says the South Carolina game before the national championship game really helped explode it. I really didn't know who Angel Reese was, but see, yes, agreed. Clark, beating South Carolina certainly stood out. Nike Rawhide says not a rivalry, but Reese wishes it was. One a scorer, the other rebounder, and it is a rivalry. I'm sorry, it's a rivalry. They've met each other enough. They're talked about in comparison. Clark's better. Clark is bigger from a popularity standpoint. But Angel Reese is the second most popular women's basketball player on the planet right now, I would say. Not like that's a diss. Not that that's a diss. I mean, Caitlyn Clark is far and away the best rookie in the league. Tiger Lear says, love Caitlyn 3. D Shrewd 8 says, I thought that was weird too. They also didn't mention that CeCe and Angel are both going for Rookie of the Year and to make the playoffs. In that regard, there was a rivalry for fans. I think this is calling back to what I said about First Take and the whole mid-off, which was very, very strange. Very, very strange. Music Mindset 702. Nothing when no one will turn me and my little cousins and nieces from watching Caitlyn and Skylar Diggins. Simple. Yeah, I mean, that's people. You can't make people choose what, you can't choose what people like. They're going to like what they like. They're going to like what they like. Nancy says that earlier video was a good video. I think she's referencing the 5 guarding Caitlyn Clark. But that seemed to be really well received. So thank you. When I saw that screenshot, I had it. And it's funny because I knew that video would do well because I knew the positive basketball videos do well. So just put that in your back pocket. I don't know if that's indicative of my channel compared to other channels, but for me, the positive basketball videos, either positive basketball videos or videos criticizing Christy Sides, I've done the best. Prodigal says, the Fever could make some noise in the playoffs if things keep going great. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Wouldn't that, talk about the best case scenario for everybody involved here is that, Fever make the playoffs and make a run. And the way they're playing right now, I think they're going to. Let me move through here. Thank you. I'm objective and respectful. I do my best. I really do. Orlando says recent Clark drama was on our local news channel and you're in Louisiana last night. Yeah, because everybody knows they're going to get eyeballs. Prodigal says it's a story because in their last meeting, Angel's teammate took a cheap shot on Clark. Yeah, we all know. By the way, but what Christy Side said after the game is correct. When the play is called correctly, people don't have as much a problem with it. The Kennedy Carter thing blew up the way it did because of the fact that it wasn't called correctly on the floor. And by the way, here you go. Check this out. Kennedy Carter in the game yesterday. Look at this. Caitlyn kind of foul baited here by hooking the arm, and she got fouled. And then she's getting thrown forward. And look who catches her. Carter catches her. And that's it. So, Kennedy Carter got caught up in the moment last time around. It is what it is. You move on. And that was not what happened there. I'm not putting up any comments, guys, that refer to Angel Reese or anybody else using coded language. So please stop. You want to have a real conversation about it, about various things, we can, but don't use coded language to diss a young lady who doesn't deserve that because of basketball and some comments she made after a basketball game that you don't like. Stafford Lee says the jerk, and now, sorry, that wasn't for the last person's comment who was on screen. The jerks are fringe minority. Overwhelmingly, CC million strong fan base just love Caitlyn. Looks like I got another superstar here. It's Kevin says, is it fair to say Clark changed your life? Not yet, but she could. It could be fair to say at a different stage in my life that Caitlyn Clark changed my life in the not too distant future. I wouldn't say yet, but perhaps. Thank you, Caitlyn Clark. My man Ernesto, great show as always, Robin. Bryce Smith says, love the back and forth with Angel and CC. Keep it coming. Trying to get through, and I have to, I need somebody to moderate these comments at some point because somebody's spamming these things with Angel Reese. I'm not. Top Gun says, I do think that Reese fouled her on purpose. We're now getting a history and a pattern. When else did Reese foul her? I don't think that was on purpose. I don't. Is there a chance, like, almost unconsciously she gave it a little extra because it was Caitlyn, and maybe? But I think the play started because she saw the ball. Caitlyn had the ball. She swung for the ball. Caitlyn moved the ball. She hit her in her head. That happens. I watched basketball my whole life. Seen it happen a million times. And they called it correctly. This is another good comment from DS who says, what's crazy is that CC has not done anything to anyone, and yet one thing happens to her, people lose their mind. Yeah, I mean, she only handles it perfectly every single time. She's only complimentary of Angel Reese every time she's asked a question about her. It's, it is pretty incredible. It is pretty incredible to see. I also, Ed Vonch, like, I don't think the media is against Clark in general. I mean, I think the media is pro Clark in general. They're talking about Caitlyn Clark every damn day. There may be some in the media who are, like, oddly gatekeepy toward the WNBA. It's very strange. You know what's good for an organization? When new fans come. That's good. No matter who it is. It's good. Bryce Smith says he keeps it strictly hoops. I'm doing my... I mean, I can't keep it exclusively hoops because the other things have a place and they are talked about, but I will always be fair in my commentary in those ways, and I will always bring it back to hoops because it is a basketball league. And that's why Caitlyn Clark is famous. Sandy asked what the ratings were for. They have not been put out yet. But it was also noon. Noon is not a great time on a Sunday like that. Power Extremes says, can we stop manufacturing this? Clark doesn't win it. I don't think I'm manufacturing anything. I mean, if you're talking in the broader sense, sure, but I'm not manufacturing anything. And, I would put up an AR Mathis, I see your comment. I'm not going to throw it up because I don't want to give life to the people who are calling Angel the things that you're saying, because that doesn't have any place, and she does not deserve to be called those things. But that is, I agree with you. B. Harris calls me a prophet. Here, Guyana, I can put this comment up. Subscribe right away. Like and subscribe to the channel. Please hit the thumbs up, hit the comment, share with your friends. That would be great. That would be great. Kim Pagel, I'm from Iowa and have been following CC since her second year at Iowa. I was totally mesmerized by her games. Her Iowa fans are normal people who don't even have an X account. Yes, agreed. You know what I mean? Like, that's for the most part, that's the way it works. This is a good comment, AR. A couple good comments from you. Angel needs someone to coach her how to talk to the media. I think she could use a little press training. I do. Because I think sometimes she makes the situation a little worse for herself in the post game. I do. Is it the end of the world? No. Has she said anything terrible? No. But I think she could make it easier for her because just like Clark, look, Angel's never going to get the attention that Clark gets as a basketball player because her game ain't like that. But she could still get a lot of attention as a basketball player because she's a very good basketball player who has a huge personality and a great look and everything that goes. Like, Angel Reese can be a big star. As Kevin Zwicker says, we love Reese on this show. I got no issues with Angel Reese. I love her shoes, by the way. Love her shoes. Duke Lombardi says, the foul heard around the world. My dad and I watched the last half of the WNBA game. My dad hasn't watched any women's basketball until Caitlyn Clark. I think that's probably a common theme. And that's okay. That's okay. Amy K says, I prefer it to be a basketball rivalry. They aren't the best teams, but both teams are fun to watch play. I don't care for online or outside rivalry. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's where it'll eventually land because I think the attempt to sensationalize the foul actually fell flat this time around. If you notice, it kind of was here and gone. Like the other one was like a week worth of coverage. No one's going to be talking about that foul tomorrow because it was almost transparent. It was almost transparent to to everybody what they were trying to do. Unaided Foot asks if I'm on the weed. For what? Oh, because I think Angel Reese might be the second most popular women's basketball player right now. Like, most known, I mean, not the second best player. There are many, many players who are better. I think, to be real with you, I don't even think she's the second best rookie. I think Aaliyah Edwards is better than she is. I think Rakia Jackson could be better than she is. Obviously, in the league, Asia Wilson is better than she is, and Sabrina Ionescu is better than she is, and Brianna Stewart is better than she is, and Nafisa is better than she is, and so on and so forth. You know, I can keep going and going and going. But as far as notoriety, yeah, Angel Reese might. Like, if you're telling me, let's put it this way. If I had a views headline challenge, and you told me I had to use any player's name, but it wasn't Caitlyn Clark, to put in the headline for a video, I would choose Angel Reese. So that's all I mean by it. And remember, they did move, to this, Top Gun says Reese can't fill arena. They did move that Mystics game to a larger arena. Just because it didn't sell as much as the Fever game necessarily doesn't mean there wasn't more demand than a normal game. GH Sense says your channel is the foremost of all channels when it comes to CC. I'm number one. Theo B says sides may be growing on me. Not gonna lie, that is hilarious to me. You know, and I gotta be honest. Like, I got close. I almost did the side should be fired show. I didn't do side should be fired. You know, I just did like, should they think about it? But I think sides is starting to win some people, and the Fever are starting to play well. Samantha Salette said, I did appreciate that Christy Wallace stepped by CC when that tie-up happened. It was nice to see her teammates there for her. Yeah, I think you're seeing this team come together. Now, it'd be nice if Christy Wallace could be good at basketball. That would help the team. They really need something out of that position, whether it's Wallace or Hull or whomever. Katie Lou Samuelson's starting to play well for them and shoot the ball well, which is what she does, which is huge. Kelsey Mitchell, I've seen Clark fans criticize Kelsey Mitchell because she doesn't always share the ball. That's, in a way, I think it's helpful because it's like a different kind of look. You can't really predict what Mitchell's going to do other than try to score on you. It's not part of the offense. It's a break off isolation. And I think that helps them. And Kelsey's good at it, and Aaliyah is giving them an option. And Melissa Smith, for all the other stuff that's going on, played well in that game. All of a sudden, they're getting contributions from multiple people. Again, B. Harris, I'll second this. No coded language, please. Yes, I will not share any of it. You want to talk about the basketball players or criticize the players for something they said, that's fine. But you're not going to slander Angel Reese using coded language here. Sorry, she doesn't deserve that. She's a young lady and a basketball player who's done nothing wrong in the broad sense, in the grand scheme of things. XXUY says, where's the lie in what I said? What did you say? Sorry, I'm trying to keep track of these comments, guys, but there's a lot of comments and I'm just one person here. William Apes Film said, yeah, she did. She did what? I just like giving William H credit because he's seen the promise in this direction since the beginning. Chris Boosie says all Reese had to do was say she got caught up in the game and she wouldn't get the bad press, but it says she has no I don't even think she should have regrets. She didn't do anything wrong. What would have Angel's problem in her post-game press conference was, one, the special whistle comment, and two, she acted like because she made a basketball play, it shouldn't have been called a foul. It was a clear foul. I don't think anybody would have had a problem with her saying it was a basketball play. Kyle Ellsberg, level-headed analysis. I'm putting the compliments up. Sorry. Miss Pinky Lee Davis, rookie season scoring record with 744 points back in 2006. Hope Caitlyn Clark breaks it. I think Caitlyn Clark's going to break basically every rookie record. Percy D. McGee, 3. This is always good. It's always good when you have haters like this. Trust me. CC overrated, man. She had a good game. Now she's God again. You didn't talk about her, praise her when she scored 3-point and 7-point games. I've talked about everything that's happened, to be honest with you. And yeah, she had a couple of duds in her rookie season. Whoop-de-doo. When you look at the overall metrics, when you look at overall accomplishments, she is on course to have one of the greatest, if not the greatest rookie season in the history of the league. Is that okay? Is that not satisfactory? Or should she be better than the best ever? Better than the best ever? Or is the best ever okay? Omar Contreras says Caitlyn Clark is that one. Acknowledge our tribal chief, Caitlyn Clark. Anybody want to talk about Clash of the Castle, WWE event over the weekend? Throw those in the comments too. I got a chance to see that. I have my SmackDown reaction show with Denise Salcedo on her YouTube channel Friday nights. So catch that. CM Punk will be on Friday Night SmackDown. I will be on Sirius XM tomorrow afternoon from noon to 3. I'm in for Michelle Beadle with Cody Decker tomorrow from noon to 3. I will also be launching something tomorrow morning as well. I would announce it, but like I said at the top, until these things are there, it doesn't hurt to wait one more day. Doesn't hurt to wait one more day. Mike says, for Caitlyn to still be excelling in an offensive system that's not conducive to her style of play is a testament to her overall talent. Well, look, they all got thrown together here, right? They got thrown together and they're figuring it out on the fly. I I don't think Christy Sides has ever tried to not let Caitlyn Clark play her game, much to everybody. Like Caitlyn's. I just showed you the stat of where she's shooting the ball from. Her coach is letting her get them joints up. And when Sides made that comment about getting paint touches to open things up for everybody else, that's basketball 101. Basketball 101. Did I see Dejanay's tweet? Which one? Adebaku? Yeah, I saw some of Adebaku. I've seen some of them. I mean, I think, are you talking about the one like the WNBA has been such a socially conscious and active league that there's a bit of a crisis, I think, in the sense of the responsibilities but I think what's happening is they're overstating some of this around Caitlyn Clark, who isn't actually bringing or doing any of this. DS Sai Sahande with a super chat. What's your 3 favorite songs from the Black Album? Okay, this is interesting. So Jay-Z performed with Alicia Keys yesterday at the Tonys to celebrate Empire State of Mind's billion streams. And I don't know if anybody saw it, but he was wearing a do-rag. I think he was like trying to like dress a little Volume 3-ish, like to send a message. I think we might be getting a new Hove album. But I DJ'd a party on Saturday. I DJ'd a party on Saturday night, and I might have booked a paid DJ gig off of it. And one thing I want to share about that is, now this was people between the ages, I would say, of 35 and 55 years old. So take that demo into consideration. But one of the reasons Jay-Z is the greatest of all time is I played a handful of Jay-Z songs that lit the entire place up. Like everybody was bouncing and grooving to them. So that was, testament to the GOAT. And several of those came from the Black Album. And that's tough. The thing about the Black Album is it has such iconic songs on it, but it's not actually my favorite album just because it feels like a collection of songs. Can I leave a lore, or what more can I say off? That's the hard part. Because I think, to be honest with you, it may be PSA 99 Problems and Dirt Off Your Shoulder. It might just be those. But what an album. All right. Let me see if I can sort through some of these comments. There is so many comments, guys. Thank you for that, but it makes it a little difficult. Michael S. says, Kelsey Mitchell appears to be, in my eyes, the fastest player in the league. Yeah, Kelsey, again, she's Kelsey is a different look, a different style. Let me just settle this real quick. Chris Boosie says, where is the coded language? What is it? Hood, ghetto, thug. Don't say any of that shit. Because it's really, people use those words in place of the words that they know are bad and that they know will get them called racist. There's nothing about Angel Reese that no one needs to be calling her hood, ghetto, trash, or any of those words. Thug. Thug especially. Those are alarm bell words. And, I have respect for everybody, of all walks of life, for real. And I've been around everybody of all walks of life. When I was uptown, I was designated cab hailer at times because some of my friends had trouble hailing a cab because of the way that they look and some stereotypes. So I know most of the people who are saying those words know already they shouldn't be saying those words. But for anybody who doesn't, let me just put that out there. You should not use those terms to describe Black people because they are going to be taken as substitutes for words that you shouldn't say. So I will not share those descriptions. But just clearing that up in case anybody had legitimate, honest, earnest questions about that. Yeah, I pointed this out earlier. Squizzle, Caitlyn and Edwards were locked. Kennedy was there to catch Caitlyn and prevent her from potentially hitting the ground. Then Carter separated Edwards and diffused the situation. Yeah, I mean, like good, like Kennedy Carter was maybe she's she got the starting nod and maybe she grew from that. Like people can grow. People can grow. William H said, I was talking about CC helping you blow up. Things are blowing up. We got the last month more than 1.5 million views on this channel, guys. So that's cool. More than 1.5 million views. Terry Mix says, I wonder how much truth that meeting with Lisa Bluter was with management because they looked a lot like Iowa. Yo, I saw that TikTok. I'm sorry, I'm not going to cover stories like that because you need like actual stories. Like some lady's random TikTok is not enough for me to go off of. Just to let you know. We do miss the tribal chief, Mike. SmackDown misses the tribal chief. Get back soon, Roman. I couldn't agree more. Roman Reigns is a generational, just like Caitlyn Clark is a generational basketball player, Roman Reigns is a generational WWE superstar. Saturn T Tree says, Robin, talk about why you like Angel's shoe. I like them too. Well, I mean, I like the custom joints she's wearing. It gives her personality. The Barbie pink ones, I guarantee you my daughter would rock with those. The Joker ones played into that role well. And the Maryland, I went to the University of Maryland. So that had a, special place in my heart. Cole Fieldhouse, piece of Cole Fieldhouse. I was there when they won the championship at Maryland. By the way, speaking of basketball, I think people saw Ronnie on this show the other day, but this is what she made me for Father's Day. And she was out in the yard playing basketball yesterday, or in the driveway. And when I showed her the step back Caitlyn Clark 3 from the game yesterday, she said, could that be me one day? Like that's not a made up story. She said that. Could that be me one day? DS with the super chat. Did the Celtics close it out tonight? I believe so, yes. I believe Boston closes it out tonight. I think Boston is the far superior team to Dallas. And I think they do indeed close it out tonight. But I don't know. Like, it depends on if Stephen A. Smith is playing. If Stephen A. Smith plays for Dallas, things could be different. It's just so funny to see all those walk-in videos. And like, the Celtics are going to be the most boring champion since the 2004 Pistons. It doesn't make it count less, but going to be boring. And I think the ratings from Game 5 were historically low. I do think the NBA is dealing with a bit of a crisis in the way it is covered by its media partners. I do think that. They got to get that under control a little bit. Ooh. Danny Adams, my guy, says 99 problems, allure, and dirt off your shoulder. All right, that's allure would be my next pick, but I got to go PSA. I have advocated that PSA should be the national anthem from this point going forward. Unaided foot. I got to split and get the kid up. A great show. Keep up the vibe. Appreciate it. Oh, Canada. Prodigal says Jay-Z best album is Hard Knock Life Volume 2. You know what? I don't agree. And I think that's one of his lower albums for me personally. My favorite Jay-Z albums are 444 and The Blueprint. And then the Black Album, probably. Then Volume 1, Reasonable Doubt, and American Gangster. Those are my top 6. Kenneth Paulman says, funny, I called Bill Lambier and Rambus a thug, and it never had a racist kind of... Well, it does now. Sorry, People used to say a lot of things and do a lot of things in different walks of life and times that weren't... And I'm not a PC guy. Like, I'm not Captain PC. I don't believe in policing speech. I think society is too sensitive as a whole. We can have real and frank conversations here and real and frank debates. I am telling you, trust me, this is the case. If you call black people thug, ghetto, or those other words, they're going to take it a certain way. Not necessarily everyone, because no one's a model, but in general, that's how it's going to be taken. So I will not propagate that on the channel, and I would suggest describing it in a different way. Bryce Smith, I think, agrees, as I already blocked some peeps for that. There's a different way for, people to describe things. I understand, like, it's not the technical definition of it. Like, I get it. And again, I'm not like the way people lose their minds over every comment and everything anybody does is wild. It's wild. And that's not me. Like, I've had people come in here like, you're a liberal or this and that. And I'm just telling you, it sends off my spidey sense, given my experiences in life and the people that I've been around. And there are you can use other ways to describe it, especially when it's it's constant. It's the same word over and over and over again. Alvin White Jr. says, thoughts on the convo that What More Can I Say should have ended the Black Album. Interesting. Well, I get why my first song ended the Black Album. The Black Album itself, what would I change about it? I don't mind What More Can I Say where it is. I would have taken the interlude off and just started with December 4th. I don't think we needed to know that Jay-Z rode a bike and his mom thought that was special. I would have taken that off. I would have taken Justify My Thug off. And it's not a bad song, and no disrespect to the legend Ninth Wonder, but I don't know if it needed Threat either. Those are probably the changes I would make to the Black Album. Warren P. says, but there is thug culture, as in people say they are thugs. Basketball players don't. We're talking about basketball. I don't know. I'm not talking about thug life or what somebody might say in a random video or whatever, a YouTube or TikTok. I'm talking about basketball players. Like, people can use different word choice. It's not hard. Really, it's not. I promise you. DS says, why are the ratings down? Luka is a top 5 player. Well, he's not that kind of star. The NBA has been searching for a star, and they haven't quite found it. Luka is certainly a great player, but I think the combination, there's no LeBron, there's no Steph level star. There was a break in the games. I think that there's been a lot of blowouts in the games. So people, game 2, was it game 2? Let's see. No, which one was the close game? One of them, game 2 or 3, did fairly well in the ratings, and it was closer. The other ones have been blowouts, so people aren't going to want to stick around and watch them. Can't believe I don't have Rock La Familia in top 6. It's not. I mean, there's some joints on there. I mean, Dynasty intro, Give It to Me, obviously, but it's not a top 6 album. Matthew Jean-Baptiste, will you be on the radio anytime soon? Tomorrow. Does that count as soon? I will be on Sirius XM tomorrow from noon to 3. Mad Dog Sports Radio, channel 82, Sirius XM. with Cody Decker in place of Michelle Beadle, who is off. I feel like I'm like the number one fill-in on that show. I like both of those folks. Kyle McCaskill says Juju plays like Kobe. Once she gets drafted, CC will become irrelevant. No, sorry, guy. That's not happening. She's not becoming irrelevant anytime soon. She's a massive star. And it only helps that new stars are on the way. Saturn T Tree says CC is at her best when she's able to pass her teammates because she demands attention. I mean, she's a fantastic playmaker. Fantastic playmaker. Amy K says Juju is Jordan to CC's Bird, but that the W doesn't run up. Although, yeah, look, I mean, this is good. It's the difference between, like, here's what Stafford Lee says, any male college stars to follow. The male game, the men's game is doesn't have those. It doesn't have those storylines for people to follow or those stars for people to follow. Kevin Zwicker says the GOAT Mercedes is pulling up to the finals tonight. Mercedes Monet, formerly known as Sasha Banks, now part of AEW. Samantha says video and All-Star predictions for the W. Somebody asked me for a video on the format of the All-Star game. I'll do something around it for sure. Again, I got to launch this thing tomorrow. Once that's out of the way, I'll be able to lock in a little bit more. Alvin White says, I don't know if you spoke on this before, but how did you feel about Cole bowing out with K-Dot? That was a self-inflicted wound from Cole. He didn't need to do... The thing is, Cole never needed to enter the fray. He was not really dissed. He caught some strays. He caught some strays, right? On like that. But that was clearly always meant for Drake. For all the dogs getting buried, it's okay with all these nines. We can see the Pet Cemetery. The Prince Michael Jackson line. All that stuff was meant for Drake. Cole was just guilty by association. So I think Cole could have fired back at Kendrick with a line or two or a bar or two here or there, and people would have been like, oh, that's cool. Instead, he basically made a song around it, said stuff that he couldn't have actually believed, and then was tipped off as to where Kendrick might take this. And I think Cole hurt himself. Not as badly as this hurt Drake, but I do think it hurt Cole in the sense of after that move, he can never be in the conversation with Kendrick again. I guess is how I would put it. Cole had been on a really strong run of features where he rapped his ass off on a bunch of features. But now he can never be mentioned in the same conversation as Kendrick Lamar again. I guess is how I would put it. Diana Beth Olson says, no one hijacked Fallen Angel and forced her to act the way she does. She did this to herself. Act the way she does in what sense? Right? You might not like some of the stuff she said. You might not love the way she carries herself. But in the grand scheme of things, she's not doing anything wrong. It's not that serious. It's not that deep. It's, I guess what I'm saying. Doing this is not a big deal. Saying Clark gets a special whistle or whatever might not be a smart comment, but it's not a big deal. There's just a lot of things that are not big deals that Angel has done that don't warrant some of the way she's been talked about. She don't have to be your favorite player. Edward T says he voted for Reese and CC. Kenneth Paulman says Cole saw where it was going and said, nope, that is true. Dave Suki says, I believe Clark should be on Team USA, but not the All-Star team. I think she's actually deserving of both, if I'm being real. Anna Jordan says she voted but didn't pick Clark. Well, Caitlyn's going to be on the All-Star team. Vadim adds that Juju will benefit from what has happened with CC this year, and there will be an audience ready to see her greatness. All right, guys. I think it's a pretty good show there. I think we did a pretty solid little show there. Anything else, you can get it in real quick. Be on the lookout tomorrow for something I'll be launching. Check out Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio, channel 82 tomorrow. So all that coming up tomorrow. Thank you, Bryce, for checking out the show. Thank you to everybody who has checked out the show. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats or any chats from commenters. From members like AJ. Podium predictions for F1 this weekend. Who you got? AJ, you're gonna have to make them. I'll let you do a super fast. When is it this weekend? You're gonna come on the show this week, AJ, to give your quick rundown. We'll put you on like a clock. How fast do you have to get a lap in a Formula? Something like that. We'll do a bit on that. We'll get Kevin on the show this week again too. We haven't seen Kevin's face on the videos in a minute. Let's get him on the show this week. My number 1 and 2 supporters. And DS, thank you for all your super chats today. And Ernesto, been there from the beginning. Thanks to everybody who's been there from the beginning. Thanks to all the new fans as well. Thank you for the kind words, like from Stafford Lee, who thanks me for my good nature and fairness. That's where, look, I want people to watch. I want people to be a part of this community, but I also don't want to, I don't want to sell my soul in order to do it. Alvin says, quick thoughts on Drew getting screwed by CM Punk. Seeing fans upset about Drew losing again in front of his home crowd. I thought that was perfect. I thought that was a brilliant ending to the show. And it made no sense for Drew. Like, Drew McIntyre, just because it was in Scotland doesn't mean Drew McIntyre should have won. It made no sense for him winning. Because why would he fight Gunther after this entire build with Punk? And what a brilliant twist with the referee. For those of you who didn't see, Drew McIntyre was going to win against Damian Priest. The ref is knocked out. Another ref comes in, but it turns out it's CM Punk wearing a referee shirt, and he stops the count at 2 and then gives Drew McIntyre. It was brilliant. I can't wait to see CM Punk on SmackDown and then talk about it with Denise on her SmackDown reaction show, which will be Friday night. Tomorrow afternoon, Sirius XM. Tomorrow morning, I should have something launched featuring the written word. And then I can maybe lock in on some of these other ideas you guys have for me. And AJ, I think Thursday will work for your F1 predictions. I don't see an issue there. All right, guys. That'll do it for me today. Appreciate all of y'all who take the time to watch. Please like, subscribe, and do all the other things that you do to one of these channels. And until next time, yeet.